We start the program with something that is helpful for you. So support for the Don Lemon Show comes from Z-Biotics. Let me tell you, this stuff is a game changer. I use it before a night out with friends or dinner events when I know there will be drinks involved, and it's called pre-alcohol. And it's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic created by real PhD scientists to help you feel your best the next day. Now, here's how it works, okay? When you drink, alcohol turns into a toxic byproduct in your gut, and that's what causes those rough mornings. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks that stuff down so your body can bounce right back. It'll bounce back faster. The first time I tried it was before a dinner party in the city. I told you about that glass of wine, maybe two. I laughed too loud, really loud. And the next morning, sharp, no fog, ready to go. So fall is here right now, which means games, game days, tailgates, and Sunday watch parties. So make Z-Biotics pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and enjoy great days after celebrating all season long. So go to zbiotics.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON for 15% off of your first order. It's backed by a 100% money-back guarantee, so you've got nothing to lose. That's zbiotics.com/lemon, code LEMON. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Topics, 10 a.m.-ish Eastern time on the East Coast here in New York City. So thank you all for joining us today. This is a very important and busy and momentous day, I believe, because I don't know, it feels like, are we on trial like America right now? Oh, wow, the tea is good this morning. I like to keep the tea back, just keep it going, right? Yeah, it's strange. And because it feels like there's no guardrails for anything. I want to show you this picture from Alexandria, Virginia this morning. This is live. This is outside the courthouse, where James Comey, the former head of the FBI, is being arraigned. And why is he being arraigned? Because Donald Trump, he says he didn't, but he put that note out. I guess he thought it was a text to, it's time you got to act fast, meaning to move on James Comey or whatever indictments it is. That's a text. Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially the same old story, last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? So he's talking about all of his political enemies right here. And guess what? He believes they're all Democrats. I don't think that James Comey is a Democrat. I'm not even sure, but he doesn't like James Comey. That's courthouse. And you see reporters are rushing out. The latest is that James Comey has pleaded not guilty to an indictment secured by Trump loyalists. The former Trump personal lawyer, Lindsay Halligan, obtained the indictment sought by the president. Now she needs to prove the case. James Comey pleaded not guilty Wednesday to criminal charges that were demanded by President Trump and secured by one of his former personal lawyers, who has never prosecuted a case before. The administration installed Lindsay Halligan to lead the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Virginia. That's where this is being held, this particular arraignment or hearing, whatever you want to call it, after the previous head, Eric Siebert, was forced out after he resisted charging Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James, another political opponent Trump once charged. This is some bullshit. That's why it's like, I keep saying, America, wake up. Like, do you guys understand what the world is going on right now? This is serious. They're charging people for things that no president in their right mind would do. No attorney general, no nothing. No attorney for the Eastern, Northern, Southern, Western, whatever district would do. And this is all because this is what Donald Trump wants. So look, we're going to watch this picture, and I'm going to talk this morning about how I feel, and maybe James Comey or his attorneys are going to come out. So we're watching this live. There I see Miles Taylor right there, just left the courthouse. And I think, you know, people are like, I don't think they get it. I feel like people are asleep. I feel like people are asleep. I'm going to text Miles and see if he can join us. I feel like folks are asleep in this country right now. So they're waiting for Comey to come out. So we're going to keep that picture up. And I'm going to go through just a couple of thoughts that I have this morning regarding all of this. So as we are sitting here right now, wherever you are, sitting, standing, whatever you're doing, laying in your bed, James Comey is a former director of the FBI. He is standing before a federal judge in Alexandria, Virginia. And he has pled. In the old days, we were taught by my English professor that it was pleaded. So maybe they've added pled to the dictionary, but he's pleaded not guilty. So I want you to think about that. The man who once ran the nation's top law enforcement agency is now being prosecuted by the very president he once investigated. And what is the charge? It's making false statements to Congress, which, think about that, okay? Making false statements to Congress, that's what they call it. Which is interesting because I'll get to Pam Bondi, because Pam Bondi sat in front of the Senate, in front of lawmakers yesterday, and didn't answer any questions. And yet, James Comey is being prosecuted for answering questions. So I guess we don't have it. There's no camera over where everyone's rushing up, right, Andy? Or is there another angle? No.
This is the closest angle.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're surrounding, just waiting to grab pictures until they come up to the microphone. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like anyone's talking. They're just waiting to get the first shots of James Comey coming out. So, but this isn't about false statements. This is really about power. Donald Trump wants to show that he's in control. He wants to be a dictator. It's about punishment. It's about a president who decided that justice should answer to him. It's a president who has forgotten that he is a public servant and that he works for the American people and not the other way around. Same thing. Pam Bondi, all of them. The entire, what kind of cabinet do I want to call it? Because it's a, can we call it a minstrel show? But the entire misfit cabinet, they all believe that because it comes from the top. Because Donald Trump didn't take over the government. He hijacked it. That's what he's doing it right now. And we're allowing it. Why are we allowing this to happen? I don't get it. He has turned the Justice Department into the revenge department, the Department of Revenge. He made loyalty more valuable than any law. It doesn't matter. The law doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter. Facts don't matter. What matters is loyalty to Donald Trump. And this morning, the evidence is in a courtroom right now and about to walk out of a courtroom. That is the evidence of things that are seen. Well, they weren't seen because it didn't happen, and now they're seen. The evidence of things that are seen or will be seen, and you'll see James Comey come out. I don't know if we have his response of when it happened, but he did speak about it before he went to court, right after he was indicted, right after the news came out. And as I said, as we wait on James Comey, we see the media there in front of this courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia. Let's talk about Pam Bondi yesterday. Okay, let's see who's coming out now. Let's talk about Pam Bondi yesterday. Pam Bondi sat in front of the United States Senate, and the nation's top lawyer is she's supposed to be. And she treated the Constitution like it was like a punchline or something that could be interpreted in whatever way that she wanted to be interpreted, or she could follow it whenever she wanted to follow it. She didn't have to answer questions. It doesn't matter if I'm supposed to answer your questions, because that's the way it works. Our government is set up for the legislative branch to have oversight on these issues and oversight on money and appropriations and how things should be spent and who should get charged or not. And if you have a case, bring it to us and we'll take a look at it. It was supposed to be a hearing, but it turned into theater. That's what it was yesterday. Dodging questions left and right about Trump's influence on prosecutions. She's like, I'm not going to engage in that conversation or answer questions on that. It's like, well, that's what you're there to do. She didn't want to talk about, she refused to explain why career prosecutors are resigning. She was smirking all over the place when senators pressed her about James Comey, and had the audacity to say that she is ending the weaponization of justice. What the hell is she talking about? And why do we just let these people play in our faces? Why do we just let them lie? She's ending the weaponization of the Justice Department. I mean, Pam Bondi, are you kidding me? I mean, it's just too rich. It's like somebody setting a house on fire and then, getting the water hose and then saying, oh yeah, well, finally out of control. And she thought she was being cute or clever. And well, no, it was not cute. It was not clever. She looked like a scold. It made her look dumb. It made her look stupid. It made her look like all the things that she is. And she's the personification of corruption in living form, walking in heels or whatever it is in broad daylight. And then you had that playing out. I don't want to, am I depressing you guys this morning? I'm sorry, because we're waiting to see. I want to see what James Comey or his attorneys have to say. I hope I'm not depressing you guys. I did a speech yesterday, fireside chat, I should say, at Black Week, and someone said, you depressed me. Like the organizers, the founder's wife was like, you depressed me. And I started thinking about it, and she's an immigrant. She said, I started thinking about it, and you're right. And that's why I was depressed, because what are we doing? I'm sorry, but do you guys not want to hear it because you think it's depressing? I can do a fun show. We can talk about celebrity news. We can talk about Dancing with the Stars. But what is that going to do for you? We can talk about reality shows, which is where Donald Trump came for, because while that hearing was playing out like a bad reality show, the country itself was breaking. It is breaking. Ladies and gentlemen, Americans, citizens, people who care, our government is shut down. It's still shut down. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are not getting paid. Now, imagine, I want you to think about, what if you didn't get your paycheck this week? Or what if you don't? What if you didn't get it? Because usually like Thursday, right? What if you didn't get it last Thursday? That's usually the day that most people, Thursday or Friday. So what if you didn't get your paycheck on Thursday or last week, and then you're not going to get it this week? What kind of straits would you be in? Would it be dire straits? Are you living paycheck to paycheck, or a couple paychecks away from not being able to pay your mortgage? And what if you had to go to the hospital or doctor, and you had, all these premiums that are about to go, you have to pay that? Hospitals are warning about running out of funds. The hospitals are running out of funds. They're warning about that. Social Security offices shuttered. And these are people who need it the most. Families cannot afford their prescriptions. And the people hurting the most, the ones who are losing jobs, insurance, stability, are the very people who believed Donald Trump was fighting for them. Always the ones. He's not coming after me. He's going after the bad guys. He's not coming after me. He's going after the criminals. He's not coming after me. He's going after the brown people. He's not coming after me, the man of the house. We're going to go after the women, because they belong in the house. A woman's supposed to let her man lead. The very people who believe that Donald Trump was fighting for them are going to be the very people who are going to face some really tough consequences. I think the top 10 states that are going to lose the most with healthcare, if it goes down the way the Republicans want it, in order to keep that government open, right? They're all red states, pretty much. I've had to put off a surgery because of the cost, says Annoyed AF on thank you for your support. And I'm sorry that that's happening to you. But he thought people who thought he was fighting for them, and they are effing around and finding out. He's not fighting for them. He's fighting to survive. He's fighting he fought to stay out of prison. He had to become president, or woo! And while his constituents are rationing insulin, postponing surgeries, worrying about rent, Not sure if that was Comey leaving. Donald Trump is deploying troops on American soil in Chicago, Portland. He wants to do it to Atlanta. He's turning neighborhoods into militarized zones. I mean, you have seen the footage. You've seen the helmets, the drones. I mean, the helicopters landing on top of buildings and handcuffing or zip tying kids, tear gas, journalists thrown to the ground for doing their jobs. You've seen all the videos. And we're going to play more of them because I hear you're not getting them in mainstream media. Corporate media is not giving it to you. They're just arguing about who's right, who's wrong, who's going to suffer the consequences. Don't nobody care, really. Like when I said, who's more responsible, I just want to know because that's what the polling, people don't really care. People just want to know, look, fix my shit. That's it. And if you're not doing it, then I think they should be voted out. This is what they call law and order. I call it what it is. This is state violence. This is a police state. This is a dictatorship. This is fascism. It's not strength. It's fear. Fear by people who are wearing a badge. We don't know if the badges are real or not. And carrying a gun or guns. And the worst part of all of this is that, I don't know, I was going to say we're growing used to it or we've grown used to it. Have we grown used to this? And is that the point? Corporate media would rather stage a panel than to show the pain. They debate the optics instead of showing the reality of it, sanitizing the brutality until it feels like background noise, right? When I was in corporate media or cable, we would call it wallpaper. It was like, don't wallpaper somebody dying. Do not just show it over and over, but wallpaper, right? And then it just becomes just kind of, we become inured. And on social media, as I told you yesterday about the mainstream media and about social media, the truth is throttled. Images of raids disappear. Videos of protesters are vanishing reportedly. But gossip, distraction, frivolity, frivolousness just goes on. That goes viral. Let's see what the next dance move is that goes viral. They suppress what matters and amplify what doesn't until you start confusing silence with safety. And then your freedom, what you think is freedom, it becomes conditioning where you are like, oh, you forget like the freedom that you had to be able to speak. You know what I find interesting? The same person who talked to me last night who said, oh my God, it was a little depressing because you gave such truth. She said, but it's weird because we think like this is America and freedom of speech or any of the rights that people have, like that's not going to change. And it does change. She said, I'm afraid to say things. Now, I've never been afraid to say anything in this country ever. She's an immigrant. But she said, I've never been afraid to say anything in this country. And I said, I haven't either. But people are afraid right now. And I noticed when I go out and talk to people like, okay, I'm like, why? You have a First Amendment. No, look, people are getting fired and, this is happening and that is happening. Come on, tell me in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. People are afraid. Are you guys afraid to say things? I think that's what they want. You should not be afraid to call balls and strikes. You should not be afraid just to say how you feel. That's the whole point of having a First Amendment. My friend called me and said, I've been watching your man on the streets. You guys know Tracy Jacobs, right? I called her my West Coast correspondent. Tracy called me and she said, Don, I think people are becoming afraid to speak to you. And I said, you know what, Tracy, they say that when I try to talk to them. She said, yeah, because it's a really frightening time right now. And they're afraid because, your platform is getting bigger and has more reach and people are going to see it. So maybe, and because they're now noticing, oh yeah, there's a guy that goes out and does the things. People are afraid. Why are people afraid? I don't get it. I was at Black Week yesterday. I told you, and people told me that they wake up with anxiety. They said, Don, I can feel something is wrong, but I can't see it clearly anymore. I don't know what's up. And that's exactly what the Trump folks and all the people in power, that's what they want, for you not to see and not to understand and just be lulled into something, because if you can't see it, then you can't stop it. And if you stop feeling it, then that's when they have already won. So that's why I keep showing you this image outside of a courthouse, because I want you to see what injustice looks like. I want you to see what happens when you allow someone like Donald Trump to be empowered when you allow that power to rage out of control. It's not politics as usual, people. This is not normal. This is not normal. This is moral decay, moral collapse. It's televised and trending, and it's happening in real time, and we're watching it. But then are we feeling like, I can't believe this is happening, or I can't do anything about it, or I can't watch this, I want to turn away, or I just don't want to get involved? Like, what is it? Maybe it's too much. This is a country, we're a country right now that we're watching our own reflection fade into something that is unrecognizable. Like the woman from the old days, remember the old commercials, and you sit there and you look in the mirror and you're putting the Noxzema, whatever it is, on your face, and it just fades into, it's like, Calgon, take me away. And you look in the mirror and you go, what? It's unrecognizable. So I want to say this as plain as I can. If they can do this to James Comey, they can do it to anyone. That's my whole point. If they can do this to migrants and immigrants, undocumented or otherwise, they can do it to anyone. If they can shut down your government, they can send troops into the streets, and they can convince you that it's for your own good, then our republic is already gone, already lost. And the only question I think left is whether that we're going to pretend to not notice it. We're going to look in the mirror and it's going to be like a dream from, the Twilight Zone. And then, I'm not 90, I'm 30 again. You know what I'm saying? Because history doesn't judge us by what we say in moments like this. It judges us by what we accept, what we allow to happen. It judges us sometimes by the things that we don't say, right? The silence can speak volumes. And that's where it ends. No slogan, no sign off. Like, that's just the truth, right? Because justice isn't on trial in the courtroom this morning. I got to tell you, America is on trial. We're going to hear from James Comey right after a word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you to therapists. BetterHelp has helped over 5 million people find support, and behind every one of those stories is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone move forward. Those small moments in therapy, the right question, the safe space, that first breakthrough, they change lives. I've had my own experiences with therapy, having someone help you see the bigger picture when the world feels small. That's real healing. It's very helpful, let me tell you. So today, I want to honor those connections. And if you have never tried therapy, maybe this is your sign. BetterHelp makes it easy. With over 30,000 licensed therapists, they match you based on your needs and preferences. And if it's your first match, if it isn't quite right, well, you can switch at any time. So join millions taking a step toward better mental health. Get 10% off of your first month at betterhelp.com/Don Lemon. That's betterhelp.com/Don Lemon. This episode of the Don Lemon Show is brought to you by Graza. It's my new go-to olive oil. I love to cook, whether it's dinner with friends or just experimenting late at night. Graza has changed the game. So here's why. It's fresh, like harvest date on the bottle fresh. They pick fresh and bottle their olives in the same season, which is why it tastes so bright. They've got 2 incredible extra virgin olive oils, sizzle and drizzle. Sizzle is for cooking, roasting, sauteing, tossing veggies in a pan. Drizzle is for finishing. It's like you use it on your bread or your salads, your pasta, even a little scoop of vanilla on the vanilla ice cream. I'm telling you, it works. And you can put a little bit, just a little drop or 2 in your martini. Trust me, those combos work. So at home, I keep both on my counter. Sizzle for the skillet, drizzle for the flavor. Makes everything I cook feel a little more intentional. Sometimes international. I feel like Italian. All right, and right now, Graz is running their annual site-wide sale through October 21st. Everything's 20.74% off. Yes, 20.74% off. No code needed. Go to graza.co and stock up. That's graza.co. Elevate your food game, everybody. Elevate your food game, everyone. Okay, so we're looking at the courthouse in Arlington, Virginia. James Comey being arraigned. He has pleaded not guilty. There is a reporter inside of the courtroom, a CBS reporter, who is now reporting on what happened inside the arraignment. Here it is.
Hey, it's Scott McFarland outside court. James Comey has just pleaded not guilty to 2 federal charges on the 6th floor upstairs in the federal courthouse in Judge Nachmanoff's court. The speedy trial issue came up during these proceedings, these very brief arraignment proceedings. The prosecution urging for extra time, saying this is a complicated case, trying to perhaps put this case on a slow track. The judge was initially skeptical. This is such a complicated case since there's just 2 charges and the charging document is barely a page and a half. Comey was brought in through a private, secure entrance, away from the protesters, the media, potential agitators who would be here today. We'll see if he comes out and talks, though. I'm dubious he'd do that if he got a secure way in. A couple things to keep in mind. They're going to put a trial date on the calendar. It could be as early as January, but that is slippery. Those things tend to slide in the federal court system by nature, especially in a high-profile case like this. And Comey was the first one to walk in to the courtroom in arraignment, seen smiling by those who saw him enter. And at this point in time, everybody's keeping a low profile. And that may be true for some period of time. For now, a former FBI director is a criminal defendant charged in federal court with a trajectory of the case uncertain.
All right. And so he was brought in through a private entrance. Let's see if he leaves through one. I think his attorneys probably won't, and they may want to talk. So we're going to continue to watch these pictures. And I said, this is what happens when people refuse to speak their minds, when they refuse to, or they're afraid to say what they want, right? Or when they're apathetic and don't go to the polls to vote, or they protest vote for some whatever wedge, niche, singular issue, which is just mind-boggling to me. How do you guys feel now? Thank you very much. Thank you very much to people who voted for, what's her name? Jill Stein. Whatever. But James Comey says he's not afraid. James Comey spoke out right after, moments after the indictment came down.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid, and I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
Let's have a trial and keep the faith. Now, I showed you what Donald Trump wrote. He tweeted, or truth, or whatever you want to call it, truth. It should be called Lie Social instead of Truth Social. About James Comey and Shifty Shift, and they're all guilty as hell, and nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put in a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past. So he wrote the quiet part and then to pretend it didn't happen, because then he deleted it. And so he says, Pam, this looked like a personal memo to Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi had to answer to this yesterday in front of the Senate. Well, I mean, she tried to answer it in front of the Senate. No, she didn't try. Excuse me. She refused to answer these questions in front of the Senate. This is Senator Blumenthal asking her about being, well, let's see. This is a longer one where Blumenthal and her are going back and forth. Here it is.
Toward them. You've just said that President Trump is the most transparent president in history. Tragically and chillingly, you may be right when it comes to criminal justice, because far from ending weaponization of justice, I would submit, Madam Attorney General, that President Trump has embodied it. And we have a record. It is a public record of his express instructions that certain individuals be investigated. The Attorney General of New York, Tish James, my colleague, Adam Schiff, the former CISA director, Chris Krebs, the DHS former Chief of Staff, Miles Taylor. There's a list. And he has been transparent. In fact, 5 days before the indictment of James Comey, he put this post up as instructions to you. He didn't mince words. He was very open and public that you should indict James Comey and others because they are guilty as hell. No more delay now. 5 days before you indicted, or grand jury at your instructions indicted James Comey. I'd like to know from you what conversations you've had with President Trump about the indictment of James Comey.
Senator, I am not going to discuss any conversations I have or have not had with the President of the United
Did you
States.
see that
You're
post?
an attorney, you have a law degree, and you know that I'm not going to do that. I also find it fascinating, because I'll keep fighting to ensure that law enforcement and the judicial process move forward without political interference. No one is above the law, not even the president. That's a quote from you, Senator Blumenthal, in 2017.
Well, let me ask you then, when you saw that
No
post,
one is above the law. That was your quote.
When you saw that post, did you talk to anybody in the White House?
I am not going to discuss any conversations I have, nor any investigations,
So
nor
you are unwilling
any
to tell
pending
this committee
cases.
about conversations with the White House
And if I
regarding
may
James
continue,
Comey's indictment.
and if I may
Let me show
continue,
you a picture.
James Comey was indicted by one of the most liberal grand juries in the United States.
Some of the attorneys are representatives for the family. And as the reporter told us before, James Comey came in through a private entrance. Because can you imagine if they're doing that to the family? Imagine what they'd be doing to him. But usually when something like that happens, just so you know, the old trick is let them out and then bring the real person out while the other people are chasing them. And so that's what we're watching right now. We're keeping an eye on this. And you're not going to miss anything. You're going to get everything. I would love to see a little more transparency. I would like to see some cameras in the courtroom, but I do also understand when the judges and people who believe that there would be, attorneys and witnesses and whatever preening in front of the cameras trying to get their moments if they did allow the cameras in the courtroom. Should they put audio in the courtroom perhaps? Would you think that would make a difference, or would that cause people to act as well? Because then at least it would be memorialized or captured and they could use that for content as well. because that's what the whole world is about now. So they're still waiting outside of that courtroom. So that was Pam Bondi not answering questions yesterday. Here she is again being questioned about a dinner that she had at Mar-a-Lago where James Comey was in attendance along with the entire cabinet.
The night before James Comey's indictment, you had dinner with the President of the United States. Pretty intimate group.
Actually, there were a lot of people there that night. That's a great
James
picture.
Comey discussed at that dinner?
I love that picture. That's a great picture. And there were a lot of people there that night. I think the
Well-
entire cabinet was there.
Did you discuss James Comey with the President of the United States? He was sitting just to your left.
Well, 2 seats down, yes, 2 seats down. And I am not going to discuss any
I'm going to take
conversations
that
I've
as
had
a
or not
yes,
have with the
because
President
the
of the
American
United
public
States.
is entitled to know, Madam Attorney General.
The entire
whether
cabinet was
you
at that dinner,
took
too,
instructions from President Trump after he told you very directly to indict James Comey, which is weaponization of the Department of Justice.
Didn't answer anything. Refused to answer any question about anything. Oh boy. So there we go as we wait on this. Now, Pam Bondi was dressed down by Adam Schiff yesterday, who really, I think, was the best questioning. She kept trying to insult him. She kept trying to, and he said, look, you have these canned responses, and I know you can give your canned response after I do that. Yes, Andy, it's about, I believe it was about Holman. But anyway, but it's the one where he said, he kept saying, you have these canned responses and canned insults. You can just keep trying to insult me. And it's him saying, yeah, it's about listing a dozen things that Bondi won't answer. And really showing just not only the blatant disregard of authority and structure and the systems and levers of our government, but just basically being an asshole. Because these people think that not only do they think they're above the law, they think that it is somehow, a flex to insult elected officials, and that it somehow puts them above certain people to hold these positions where I can do whatever I want. That's what they believe. But actually, it is, I will admit, quite a privilege to be able to do this. And if you're going to be put in that position by whomever, then you should have the respect. You should have enough respect for the American people and for the Constitution and for our government and for our leaders to sit there and respectfully answer questions, whether you are, upset or not. This is Pam Bondi.
Let me do this because I think it's valuable that the American people get a sense of what you've refused to answer today. So these are just some of the questions you refused to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman paid taxes on the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career prosecutors find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question.
You were asked, law degree,
excuse me, You were asked, did you discuss indicting James Comey with the president? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did you approve the firing of antitrust lawyers who disagreed with the Hewlett-Packard merger? You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you support a restoration fund for violent insurrections to attack the Capitol on January 6th. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you were firing career professionals, career prosecutors, just because they worked on January 6th investigations. You refused to answer that question. You were asked by my California colleague whether you believe government officials, like immigration officials, have to abide by court orders. You wouldn't even answer that question. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
And they got no oversight from Pam Bondi. And that's where we are. People are not answering questions, and everyone has gone rogue, and they are doing things with impunity. And that's why I say, and people are just sitting by, just letting it happen. And then all of a sudden they're going to go, how did we get here? How did we get here? What do you mean, how did we get here? Do you guys know what I'm saying? This is a break glass moment. I hate to tell y'all this weird. I don't mean it to depress you guys every single day, but I have to give you the reality, because I always tell you I'm not going to bombard you with stuff that you don't need. But when I tell you something is important, this is important. We're at the point getting very close. It's like when you see the GPS and you see like the turn creeping, it'll say, turn right in a mile. And you're like, okay, I have a mile. Turn right in 3/4 of a mile. And you're like, I gotta turn right in half a mile. And then somebody called, turn right in 500 feet. And then somebody calls you or whatever it is. And then you forget. And the thing goes, turn right now. And you go, oh shit, how did I miss my turn? Because you got distracted. And the thing had been telling you that you need to turn right. But you were like, okay, you just kind of lulled into it. You get used to hearing it. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, the big distraction comes and you forget to make that turn. You forget to react to what's happening in the world. And that's when you have, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Okay. Donald Trump is calling for jailing the Chicago mayor and the Illinois governor. Yep. They're calling it domestic terrorism, organized terrorism in America. We'll talk about that right after a word from our sponsors. 2 minutes. The Don Lemon Show is brought to you by the Freedom from Religion Foundation, defending the separation of church and state all across America. So right now, politicians are trying to push religion into public schools, posting the 10 Commandments, hiring chaplains with no clinical training, and diverting tax money to private religious schools that often exclude LGBTQ students and non-Christians. But Freedom from Religion is fighting back. In Texas, they just won a federal injunction blocking a law that would have forced every public classroom to display the 10 Commandments. They're defending the First Amendment in court, in Congress, and in classrooms to keep education truly public and protect every student's freedom. So don't let your rights be rewritten. Learn more at ffrf.us/school or text DON, that's DON, to 511-511. Text fees may apply. Again, ffrf.us/school or text DON to 511-511. Support for the show comes from Shopify, the platform that helps millions of people turn their ideas into real businesses like me. So when I launched the Don Lemon Show, it started as a dream, a big one, but Shopify made it possible to actually build something sustainable. Whether you are selling merch, candles, or the next big idea, Shopify is the all-in-one platform that makes it easy. You don't have to be a tech genius. They've got ready-to-go templates, AI tools to help write product descriptions, and 24/7 support when you get stuck. Plus, they make your brand discoverable. You can run email and social campaigns right inside Shopify and track what is working in real time. You know what's working, you know it's not. So stop asking, what if? And start saying, why not? So turn that dream into a A ka-ching with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/lemon. That's shopify.com/lemon and start building what's next. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors. Okay, so I showed you what the Wall Street Journal had. It said Donald Trump is calling for the jailing of Chicago mayor and the Illinois governor. Okay, Mayor Brandon Johnson, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Donald Trump is this is him calling for their jailings. This is on his Truth Social post. Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor Pritzker also. This man is out of his gourd, and all of these people are going along with him. This is a deputy AG. Remember, this is Donald Trump's personal attorney. Remember all the court action that happened in New York last year, or even the year before? Donald Trump's lawyer was one Todd Blanche, and now Todd Blanche is a deputy attorney general of the United States, second in charge to Pam Bondi, right? So this is him saying that this is organized terrorism in America and basically backing what Donald Trump said.
We have organized efforts by domestic terrorists, and that's what they are, to do things like box in law enforcement's cars where they can't even move. And as we know from arrests that were made this weekend, some of these men and women that are boxing in these federal law enforcement officers are armed with heavy machinery. And so this is not a peaceful protest. And when those words are used, it's a shameful. Because what we have going on right now is literally domestic terrorism in Chicago.
Okay, you want to see some really what domestic terrorism is? The gall, the nerve of Todd Blanche for that to even creep out of his mouth. So to just creep off of his lips is just too rich for me. Let me show you what domestic terror is. Roll it, Andy.
We're going to give riot warning. We're going to try and get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
5 to 50 be advised, Capitol Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get into the Capitol.
So, for me, I mean, am I about lost my mind? He wants to know what domestic terror is. This is domestic terror. Perhaps they should bring in some Border Patrol agents and some ICE agents to actually arrest some domestic. Oh, wait, they did arrest some of them. And what happened? You pardoned them. But yet, America, I don't know what's going on, but they're playing in our faces right in front of us and allowing it to happen. This is domestic terror. I don't see anything on any street of Chicago for people fighting back who are like anything like this, to this degree of this magnitude of brutality. Now, I'm hoping that does not happen on those streets, because I do believe that the people who are inciting the violence right now are those masked, I don't know, goons that are out on the streets in Chicago and Portland. But this is domestic terror, and it's domestic terror that's dressed up and looks just like you, just like members of your tribe, just like members of MAGA, just like the people you see every day. That's what the domestic terror is. And you want to try to pretend that there's not an issue, and you get mad at me when I'm like, hey, look, domestic terror, according to the FBI and everybody else, it's, on the right, white guys, and there it is. But according to them, listen to this.
The love in the air, I've never seen anything like it.
Can you back it up a little bit, Andy? Because he says, this is great people. Back that up just a little bit, if you can go back. Yeah, there we go.
They were peaceful people. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable. And I mentioned the word love. The love in the air, I've never seen anything like it.
So when you hear, I know the thing is, well, you guys in the mainstream media, you were saying that what happened during George Floyd, it was mostly peaceful protests. Yeah, I mean, and that's a qualifier, mostly. Were there some that got out of control? Yes. But to this, what Donald Trump is saying, they were peaceful people, that's some bullshit, and no one ever calls them on that either. No violence should happen. Whether it's left, right, it does not matter. But we are falling for the banana in the tailpipe in real time. And we're just getting lulled in it into it, and nobody seems to really care. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I can tell you what I do know. I do agree with what Kamala Harris said about people playing in your face and they're trying to make you think you're crazy. Here's Kamala Harris.
Because there's so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their mind. When in fact, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Where was that Kamala Harris? I love it. And she's right. They're trying to make you think that you lost your minds, and these mother effers are crazy. But Gavin Newsom, I love his social media team. Now, I know Gavin's not doing it. I know it's his social media team, but man, this is the way you respond. Because, I mean, had you guys ever heard of any rioting or that Portland was out of control and you're like, wait, what? That there was some out of control raging fire happening in Oregon? Gavin Newsom has a great tweet for the protest. And I like what these protesters are doing. You may think it's silly, but I like it because it's showing the absurdity of what's happening. Here it is.
But
Is there?
Portland
Yeah, there.
is unbelievable what's going on in Portland. The destruction of the city. Well, I'm going to look at it now because I didn't know that was still going on. This has been going on for years. So we'll be able to stop.
Donald Trump is such an idiot. It's amazing. You can just show how idiotic someone is just by giving them facts. Okay, so look, let me tell you about this. What's on the line is healthcare. You guys know that, right? And we're going to talk to you a little bit later on about that. But what's on the line right now is healthcare, and it is a big problem. We'll get some analysis, and we're going to hear from our lawmakers on the live at 5. But I just want to show you something because you guys have heard the whole outrage. People are in a rage about Bad Bunny. He's not American. Why is he playing at the Super Bowl? He's Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico is part of America. Yes, Hunty. American. Bad Bunny can't stop from winning. I need to get like near Bad Bunny's orbit because he cannot stop from winning, even at a ball game. Look at what happened to Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is at a Blue Jays game and gets a ball. He gets the ball. Look at that. It fell. There it is. It fell, and he went down and got it, right? And Bad Bunny. Go Bad Bunny with your bad self. Just keep hopping along, and don't let the haters get to you. So the breaking news, former FBI Director James Comey arraigned today, and we're witnessing the chaos and delusion that's happening in America. But I guess it's a delusion, but it's playing out in real time, and we're living with it. But pretty soon, I don't know, something's got to give. I don't know what's going to happen, or we're just going to be lulled into it, and you're going to have to, I guess we'll just have to live with it. We'll have to accept it. Do they say accept it before it destroys you, or don't accept it before it destroys you? If you want to know anything about the Don Lemon Show, you can go to donlemon.com. donlemon.com. Everything is there. Oh, do we rearrange the page? Interesting.
Yeah, kind of accidentally, but yeah.
Oh,
you did on my end. Yeah, like I can make it.
It's fine. I like it.
No,
it's good. It's good. I like it. And then, so if you want to know about the main show, watch, subscribe, become a member. Subscriptions are free. It's easy. Make sure that you're subscribed because not all members are subscribed. And then also you can hit the join button right there. All right. And that's how we stay viable on these streaming streets. And, I love you guys. Also back out and go to donlemon.com. And then you can get the merch. This shirt, this Lemon Nation shirt is on sale at the Don Lemon. No, sorry, at the merch store, at the Don Lemon Show merch store. Okay. So thank you for supporting us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for helping us to build this community. And if you are on that merch store page or whatever, check this out. This is a Don Lemon candle. That's a Lemonhead candle on the merch store. Who's that from?
It's from Don from Ohio.
Don from Ohio.
Don
Very
King.
nice.
And here's a second from Dawn.
Oh, Dawn, D-A-W-N.
D-A-W-N.
Dawn from Ohio. Great. Oh my gosh, beautiful. Oh my God, it's a gorgeous little girl.
Dawn's daughter, Kaya.
Hi, Kaya. Beautiful. Thank you for your support. Don Lemon's biggest fan.
And here's Dawn's father, Michael.
Michael. What up, Michael? I love it. And Michael is a man. He can wear that pink shirt. Wear it proudly. You look good in that, sir, because old people be knowing. Thank you, Michael.
We have Debria.
Hi, Debria, with your bad self. Look at her. Hi, gorgeous lady. Lemon Nation. Yes, strong. Thank you, Debria.
Cam from Baltimore has 2 photos.
I know, but Cam has a video. Did you know that this is a video? Did you click on it?
Here we go.
You can't do it. You are so beautiful. Very nice.
Release the Epstein files.
That's amazing.
I love that. Thank you.
This is Carlotta.
Hi, Carlotta.
From Georgia.
From Georgia. Hi, beautiful lady. That breakfast looks good. I got to go have me some. I've only had tea. And I had like a melon or two. Oh, who's this little cutie?
This is Mariama's son, Marshawn.
Marshawn is a little tiger shark. Hi, Marshawn. I see you had, I hope your belly is full, Marshawn, but that California Pizza Kitchen bag behind you and those Cheerios, you're eating good, sir. I'm coming to visit you. Don Lemon's biggest fan. Don't cover that handsome face. Thank you.
He loves stealing his mom's fan, apparently.
Nice. Look, young people be knowing.
This is Ruby from Houston.
Hi, Ruby. I love the hat. I have the hat here somewhere. Hi, Ruby, with your beautiful self. Thank you for supporting the Lemon Nation.
And last but not least, we have Tiona from Arizona.
Tiona says, old people be knowing. And Tiona is a gorgeous lady. I like that. Look at that. The skin is skinning, the makeup is makeuping, and the shirt looks good. And the fan. I see that fan over there in the corner. So thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for your support. So I'm going to see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And so until then, until I see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I want you to be informed without being inundated. And please, y'all, turn the TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.